Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is Phil Jackson over at the Horos Project. Today is our daily Horos web, or our bi-weekly Horos web meetup. I'm getting a little aggressive there. Friday the 17th. Hope you're all getting excited about the weekend and have some good weather in front of you. Today we're going to talk a little bit about where we're at. We'll give a brief introduction to the Horos Project and talk a little bit about where we're going directionally and offer an opportunity for questions. So if at any time you have a question, I'd encourage you to use the GoToWebinar control panel to ask those questions, and we'll get them. They come across in a little inbox here that we can take a look at and get your questions answered. And then, of course, we'll have a more formal Q&A at the end of this session. I don't anticipate this webinar taking very long, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the number of questions that are asked. But we'll certainly make sure that we get your questions answered and/or get them recorded so that we can get an answer to you. Just a few quick comments about the GoToWebinar control panel, which is the application you're using to attend the webinar today. If you are experiencing technical difficulties during this session, we'd encourage you to restart the application and/or try it on a desktop computer. We don't necessarily have the resources to help troubleshoot issues, so if you ask us questions about the GoToWebinar control panel, just be advised we may not be able to respond. So again, it's the Horos Web Meetup, a bi-weekly, we try to make it bi-weekly webinar on just what's going on with the premier free open source medical image viewer. Whoops. So the first thing we'll talk about today is what is Horos, and that's important because there are some folks on here who might not know exactly what Horos is or are here to learn something new about it. Horos is a fork of the OsiriX project. The OsiriX project has been around for about as many years as I've been working in radiology. It was the first and still the really prominent Mac-based medical image viewer. And OsiriX has gone through its fair share of versions and releases, starting at just a little 1.0 version coming out of UCLA by a software developer named Antoine Rosette, to the most mature version that's out today, 6.5, with a release of 7.0 coming soon. That is FDA approved and kind of becoming a commercial software application. And what we observed at Purview, which is where I actually spend my days working, what we observed at Purview for over 100 customers and thousands of OsiriX workstations was a version of OsiriX 6.0 that was becoming more commercialized. So a lot of the free capabilities, the capabilities that we'd learned to love over many years, were becoming features that you had to pay to get access to with the FDA-approved version of software. And this, the idea of paying for OsiriX has evolved over the past many versions. It started with a 64-bit plugin that you paid for to unlock the 64-bit capability. And as a need rose for an FDA-approved version of software, the FDA plugin, or the FDA version of OsiriX became available, OsiriX MD, and then the 64-bit plugin went away. So there has been a trend as OsiriX has matured to become more commercial, and that's a little unfortunate because we were all used to OsiriX as being an open source application. And we realized at Purview that we needed to begin to sponsor an effort around protecting an open source fork of OsiriX. And that is when we really became tuned in to that need, and we started the Horos Project. The Horos Project is not part of Purview. It's something that we sponsor at Purview, and it's something that many folks contribute to around the world. They contribute code, they contribute feedback, they contribute bugs. So Horos is effectively a fork of OsiriX 5.9. We've removed many of the nag screens. We've enabled the 64-bit capability. We've enabled Horos to be able to manage imaging studies that are greater than 500 images. We've enabled DICOM editing. so that you can edit the metadata within a DICOM study, and we have licensed it under an open source GPL license. So this is OsiriX for the people. I think that's a fairly good summary of what this is, and lots of exciting things to come. You can differentiate OsiriX and Horos not just by their names but by their logos. So you can see the two different logos there on the side of the slide. And we are certainly excited to announce during this session today that we have over 3,000 users worldwide, and that's just a Google map there that depicts where our users are, but they truly are worldwide, and that is incredibly exciting to us. We've had we've had many more than 3,000 downloads, but we have 3,000 plus unique users worldwide. So we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to hear what your questions are, what your comments may be, or what features you're looking for. So I'd like to, and we've reoriented the timing of the Q&A, and so here it is. So you get an opportunity to ask some questions. And I'll just give you a little background on myself. I have been in the radiology community for, now over 10 years. I started as a Chief Technology Officer with a large outpatient radiology practice, created a software company that is now Purview today. It was originally called SecureRad, and have tremendous experience with open source medical imaging and healthcare. So not just medical imaging, but also open source healthcare oriented applications. And am now a director and co-founder at Purview, as well as just a huge champion of the Horos project. So that's who I am, and perhaps that will help you guys understand who you're talking to. And I'd like to go ahead and open this up to a question. Do we have any questions? If not, I can certainly jump forward here. But I'd encourage you to ask questions. It's a good forum to do so. We're excited to take them, excited to help you understand what the potential of Horos can be for your organization. I do have a question here, and that is Horos FDA approved, and can it be used in hospitals? And that's a great question. I think that the latter part of that question, can it be used in hospitals, really depends on the type of hospital you work in and where you're located. Some hospitals require FDA approval, and that is whether or not the hospital requires FDA approval is really a question best posed to your legal counsel at the hospital. Somebody responsible for compliance might make a lot of sense. If you're a surgeon simply looking at an imaging study from a CD or DVD or a thumb drive, it may be very possible to use OsiriX in your hospital. Whereas if you're a radiologist performing a primary interpretation, it might be preferred that you have, or even required that you have, an FDA-approved version of software. So FDA approval is kind of a funny thing, and one that, again, we'd encourage you to check with your compliance officer or your general counsel about at your hospital. Horos is not FDA approved, and we are focused on ensuring that an open source fork of OsiriX remain available. And that is certainly something that that our primary focus is on, and maybe someday we'll find the resources to make it FDA approved, but that's not something we're immediately focused on. Looks like we have a question here about Horos and Purview and what's our relation, and I'm happy to answer that question. I think I spoke to it briefly earlier in the webinar. Horos it's really the Horos project, which is an initiative to engage folks, clinical software developers, radiologists who are looking for an open source version of OsiriX. So the Horos project is really responsible for distributing that open source fork of OsiriX, which we call Horos, and ensuring that it's available and usable by the community of folks, and providing the scaffolding, if you will, around the open source application to ensure that that various parties um, that various parties can engage in and participate in the development of Horos, and really that's what the Horos project is there for. I do have a question. Is there a legal fight between Horos and OsiriX? There is not. I've heard that a couple of times. It's like a bit of a rumor. You know, rumor mills are funny things. There is not any legal fight between the two of us. And just to be very clear, you know, we're not out to grind an axe with Pixmio. We're not out to do damage to Pixmio. We took a version of the OsiriX source code that was out in the open source domain. We forked it, and we're supporting the future development of that fork as Horos. So no legal fight. Pretty interesting that rumor is out there. There was a tweet by Pixmio that they were, you know, maybe talking to some folks about software licensing, and maybe that's where that originated from. But no, that is absolutely false. And so that looks like those are the questions that we have. If there are any other questions, feel free to ask them as we go on. We have a few other topics to address, and I'd be happy to circle back around and answer those questions here at the end of the webinar. I want to talk a little bit about Horos 1.0.7. Is the current version of Horos, and talk a little bit about what was done in that version. So we had GPU rendering improvements by our software, by some of the contributors who work on this project. The primary contributor is Fauzi Pulpetta, who is working for the Horos project and helping us really organize the development effort and ensuring that Horos is easy to contribute to, easy to use, and the source code is manageable. It's one of the biggest, it's one of the biggest items of feedback that we've received is that the source code is not necessarily friendly to developers, so we're looking to clean that up and make it more accessible. In version 1.0.7, not only did we update many of the rendering components, the underlying software, but we also increased reliability in DICOM printing. We made improvements to image loading and retrieving. We fixed a bug related to 3D MPR gantry tilt mishandling. And we improved some of the JPEG 2000 codecs to load images faster in both 2D and 3D. I will make a quick comment because it's come up a few times in the email list about the libraries that we're using to do JPEG 2000. We are in fact using different libraries than the OsiriX project. We're using open source libraries where they're using proprietary licensed libraries. And that can have an impact on performance, unfortunately. We are working to improve performance on a regular basis with Horos as far as image viewing is concerned. But just keep in mind, we are using different libraries for JPEG 2000, and therefore the image handling is a little different. Now, I'll let you know, we do have a number of clients at Purview who've made the transition from Horos, from OsiriX to Horos, and haven't really, indicated that there's a marked, improvement or a performance difference. So it seems that the two applications do perform fairly closely to each other. Now, I will also tell you that there are some bugs that have been recorded in Mantis, which is our bug tracker. And those bugs do relate to performance on specific platforms, so combinations of hardware and OS X. And we are, actively investigating those and working on improving Horos in the future so that those performance issues don't crop up again on specific hardware-software combinations. We're excited. We were shooting for July 4th for this release, but we pushed it out just a little bit because we wanted all of the effort around the next release to be really, tested and complete. And we're referring to that as version 1.1, so that is coming soon. We're super excited about it. So we've got a couple of major upgrades and features that I'll talk about now. We've added our own scheduled auto routing. So now when you set up a forward rule in OsiriX, you can schedule when those when that auto routing occurs. And that is really exciting because we have a number of clients who use Horos for workflow in their practices, in their organizations, and we want to ensure that that you can control that because some facilities are bandwidth limited. We have a migration assistant which will allow you to transfer all of your data and preferences from OsiriX directly into Horos. So if you're making that jump to using Horos and you want a more frictionless way to make that transition, we are working on a migration assistant, which is super cool. Build refactoring. So that's what that means is that we're working on fine-tuning the Horos build to be more friendly to software developers who want to contribute. So we're ensuring that the source code is tuned, that it's as optimized as possible in certain areas, and that it's specifically for Horos. There's some references in there to things like OsiriX just in general, and we're working on cleaning that up. And then we have a bunch of bug fixes, and I don't have the actual numbers, but when we release version 1.1, there will be release notes, and it will identify the bugs that are resolved. And then we are restructuring the plugin environment, and that release is to be determined. Now, I did misspeak. Well, I didn't really misspeak. The build refactoring includes cleanup of the source code, but one of the really important factors there in the refactoring is that you'll be able to more easily compile Horos and Yosemite and other operating systems. So that's important to put out there, because if you are actively developing, you want to ensure that it is as seamless as possible on different operating systems. So that is version 1.1. I am personally really excited about it. I know that our support team at Purview is excited about it. We're excited about getting our customers upgraded and operational with version 1.1. So I'll just do a quick who are we, and then I'll answer any additional questions that came in and let you move on with your weekend. Purview is a medical image management company. We support over 100 customers globally. Over several thousand OsiriX workstations. We're responsible for supporting those workstations, providing technical support and also application support. We have a bunch of years of OsiriX experience, probably 25 to 30 collective years of OsiriX experience across our team, over 10 years of experience using it since it was just a little infant application. And we love it, man. We really love OsiriX. We love the guys over at Pixmio for doing an amazing job. We encourage customers who need the FDA-approved version of OsiriX to take a look at what Pixmio has to offer. And today we stand behind supporting the Horos project and ensuring that it has the resources it needs to engage a global population of users, developers, academics, clinicians, to getting the most from the application as possible. We support customers just on over 4 continents now, which is super exciting. And that's Purview, and that's how we're related to the Horos project. We also support and sponsor OsiriX Experts, which is an online resource and blog for OsiriX users. And again, I just want to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. I do have another question here. Is there a tutorial to help developers build plugins? There isn't a tutorial that's specifically established for Horos, though there are some good OsiriX resources for plugin development that I would encourage you to take a look at. And in fact, we can dig that up and make sure that we make that accessible on our website, and we'll do what we can to find that. It's a great resource. We also do document. I will mention that we do document on our website how to appropriately contribute to the Horos project, as it is a SVN-hosted application. And supporting the global plugin development is part of our roadmap, so making it easier and more seamless for folks to develop for Horos is part of the roadmap. But again, you can develop plugins for OsiriX, and they are cross-compatible with Horos. And we'd encourage you to, again, take a look at the OsiriX documentation today to do that. And we'll try to find that and post that on our site. If there are no more questions, I will let you guys get back to your weekend. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about Horos on this webinar. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask us offline, here are some great resources. So you can email us at horos@horosproject.org. That goes to the entire team of folks that are contributing to this project, not just the folks at Purview. You can document your issues with us at horosproject.org/mantisbt. That is an open source bug tracker and a utility that that is awesome and helps us track all of the various moving parts of this project. And then horosproject.org is our website. I'm sure you guys have found us there. That is where we live as the Horos Project, and that is where our resources are made available. I have one more question here. Let me go ahead and get that answered, Daniel. Has the JPEG facility been fixed in the new version of Horos? Daniel, I need a little more information than that to help you. I'm not entirely sure which bug you're speaking to. So I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I do remember there being a couple of bugs related to JPEG 2000 compression and some others, but I don't know which specific one you're speaking to. But if you'd like to shoot us an email, I can provide you with an update on the specific bug. Just pull the ID number out of Mantis and shoot that over to horos@horosproject.org. We have another question. What are the changes to the plugin environment in version 1.1? We can provide more details regarding the changes to the plugin environment. And again, keep your eyes on the release notes, which is where you'll find all of the information as it relates to the different versions of Horos that we're rolling out. Is there going to be a good Horos manual? That's a question from George. It's a great question. We actually have a draft circulating among the Horos team, and we're going to see what we can do to get that cleaned up in the near future. It is a priority, but it has a lower priority than a lot of other various parts of the project right now. But there is a draft, and we hope to, we'll make that available as soon as we can to the community to also contribute to it. All right, guys, so that's it for today. Again, thank you very much. Reach out to us if you have any questions directly, and enjoy your weekend. Take care. Bye.